Welcome to Toffee TV. It's not breaking news, but it isn't breaking news, but it is about this fella, Wayne Rooney. Lots to talk about him coming back to Everton Football Club. Is he a Finch fan? Isn't he a Finch fan? No, it's not. He's not a Finch fan. But there has been photos of his agent coming out of Bill Kenwright's office, which is interesting. And obviously, listen, there's something going on. We know there's something going on. A lot of the very well-connected journalists are reporting it. It's just, I suppose now, I think, before we get into the pros and cons of the situation, it seems to me that the situation is Man United have told him he can leave. Yeah. It's now how they work the deal out. Basically, that's what it seems like, doesn't it? Whether he leaves on loan, which I don't think Man United wants. I think they just want to get rid of him, get those wages off the books. Can he come for free? If he comes for free, what does that mean in terms of what his wages are? And I think that's what could take a little bit of time. I think Everton do want him. I think Wayne Rooney does want to come. It's just that bit in the middle and sorting it out, and that might take a little bit of time to come to a conclusion.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. It's the nuts and bolts of the deal. We know that when they met a while ago, it being taken back off the table, just the numbers. What his wages were, what United were looking for. Everton prepared to walk away from it, which they did. I think it's become clear that Everton's the only club he really wants to leave United for. Because he wants to play games. That's the thing. I think Jose Mourinho was quite happy to keep him where he is.
Yeah.
But he wants to play. And obviously United feel as though they're going in a different direction. They want younger players, whatever. And Mourinho couldn't give him the guarantees he wanted. And I think at 31, you want to play football matches, don't you?
Yeah.
And I think, so I think we're the club he wants. And you're right, it's just now about how that deal's thrashed out. I think initially, over the last 48 hours, it was proposed a loan deal, which I think got Everton back to the table. Everton were quite happy with United paying a chunk of that, of the wages, but now we're hearing that it potentially will be a free transfer and he'll sign for 2, maybe 3 seasons with no fee. Obviously, he'll get money from United to go because they want him off the wage bill.
It's £13 million a year. Obviously, he's not picking up 13 million.
No.
But that's what Manchester United are paying. £13 million a year for Wayne Rooney, and he's got 2 years left.
Yeah, and they want to, regardless of what people talk about FFP, it's within the wage structure. It is important. If they could buy 2 players for 150 grand a week to cover him, couldn't they? So it kind of does, it makes sense from their point of view. If they're not going to use him, get him out the door. And that's where it is now, I think, and it's a case of, like you say, thrashing out those final details. I don't think, according to, like you said before, well-connected people in the press, I don't think this is going to take very long, though, to conclude. I think everybody kind of wants it done. He's not going on the United USA tour. He's staying here. We've seen him going to spinning classes and stuff.
And
trying to get himself fit. I think he knows, he knows that he's got to be fit.
But it's a World Cup year, isn't it? He wants to play. This is his last stab at a major tournament. Also, if he plays for England over the next year, he'll break the appearance record as well, which seems to be important for him. He's top goal scorer for England. I mean, he was top goal scorer and highest appearances. He basically had the lot in terms of trophies and what he's done for his country. Okay, he hasn't won any international honours, but he'd want to try at least one more time to try and break that. I mean, we've had this discussion many a time, and I suppose we felt maybe a year ago or maybe 18 months ago that was the right time. So, I mean, have you changed your mind on that, or what are your thoughts on it now?
Right now is, I want him to come back, but it's not in the same way it was. I think we done a video about 18 months, might have even been 2 years ago, when it was looking like, he'd gone and met Everton in London and was interested in coming back, and then United offered him a massive deal to stay, and he stayed, and then there was, again, it bounced around that he might be looking to leave, and he was still a real force then. I think if he'd got him then, everyone would have gone wow, what a signing. That's moved on a little bit. Now, we've moved on, quite simply. He's got a little bit slower. So it's not the same Wayne Rooney. However, that being said, if it was a case of, listen, he's our big one for the summer, we haven't really got much money to strengthen, not with who we brought in, just if he was like the main one and there was a couple of add-ons, I think I'd be going, nah, he's not really what we need. But given we've got a big checkbook, given the signings we've made so far, given we know what else we want to do, it makes perfect sense to me now. It makes perfect sense to me globally as a brand, and it's crap to talk like that, but that's basically what it is. Things like Twitter, 14 million Twitter followers, Everton have got 1.1. Things so exposure, everything else. But take that all away, I still think he's a good footballer. Last season we were relying on Enna Valencia and Aruna Kone. I'd rather him be coming off the bench or starting than them two. So I think he's still got a bit to offer, and plus I think this move would reinvigorate him. Yeah,
like you said about where we are in terms of a club, it's funny because when we saw Wayne Rooney, we were on the bones of our arses. We really were.
We were about to go under.
Trevor Birch. If anyone remembers Trevor Birch, he was. I don't know what role you give him at the club now. If he could, he wasn't the chief executive, but what he was, he was the chief executive. But really, he was in there to just look at the books and see what needed to be done.
I was working there when Trevor Birch came. He came to turn Everton round. He came for the long run. The way Everton was at that time, he was there for the short run because the people didn't really want to hear what he had to say. He gave three things. Need a new stadium.
Yeah.
Need to sell Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
And you need to reinvest that back into the team as well, with many different strategies. And people who were making the decisions didn't want two of those three. Didn't want all three, as it happened, because obviously it would have involved selling him. And he went out to the Euros and spoke to Chelsea, and at the time, I don't know whether you remember this, Ped, but 50 million was discussed. And it was everywhere because he was knocking goals in the Euros.
Didn't someone say he wouldn't sell him for less than 50 million?
Well, that's where the 50 million come from. Trevor Birch had had those discussions, and Chelsea were prepared to pay big money for him. It didn't happen for whatever reason. He got injured, and then he ended up going anyway for much less. So that was at that time. That was when he was the hottest property, and he went and he saved the club. Whether people like it or not, that's fine. But the reality is, factually, his move saved Everton at that time.
Yeah, because people remember, we didn't really reinvest much of that money. We bought.
I got paid, and other people did, which
that's
wasn't happening.
But on the pitch, we bought in Ben for like $500,000. We bought Kale for like 2.3 million or whatever it was.
1.6, and then it rose, didn't it?
Yeah. So,
that was it. Really.
We didn't really do much business. We started pushing on a little bit, but we didn't do much business, and yet we finished fourth that season, which was with the irony. But so he saved. Now whether the way he left the club mattered, in terms of did he want to go, was he pushed out the door? He did save the club. Things have happened since, obviously. At
the time, sorry, just very quickly, at the time when he went, he didn't want to leave Everton. David Moyes and him didn't see eye to eye. Moyes didn't like him. Didn't, because for whatever reason he didn't get on. He knew Everton had touted him to be sold when he was at the Euros. He knew that. I remember him speaking about Everton after the City game, I think, or before, when City topped us, and he was talking about he wanted to be captain of Everton the next season. But he went away to the Euros and he come back and the landscape had changed and changed dramatically. And I remember his press conference at United, and he said, if Everton were challenging for the Champions League places, I wouldn't be sat here today. So there was a bit of that, yes, after it, I can't excuse anything he done after it. Well, but he wasn't alone in driving himself away from that club. His agent didn't help.
No, but what he was a kid, a petulant kid, and he came back and he got, he got a lot of stick everywhere when he left the club at Everton. He was, there was some people who said no straight away. He's been sold for the money. people didn't want to believe that, because at the time, I suppose, we were still, well, a lot of people were still very sort of wet behind the ears.
None of us wanted them to go.
No, but what I'm saying is, though, Evan put a story out and we all just believed, we all just ate it, because why would he lie about the prodigal son and all this? His agent didn't help with that, because he sort of helped. He helped with that. He didn't. So he pushed stories and stuff.
Well,
so,
it was in his interest for Rooney to move.
Of course it was.
That's the thing.
And even the way he got him and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a different story. But you know, he came back. Fans hated him. They let him know they hate him, and he did some petulant things, kissing the badge and all that. But over time, as he's grown up, the relationship has got back. You know, I think there was rumours that he turned up to a few games, and then people, I think he turned up for the final, didn't he, in 2009?
Went to the cup final.
Went to the cup final, and you know, we've seen pictures of his kids wearing Everton kits, and obviously culminated them, you know, in this picture where he's back in an Everton kit, you know, a week before the season, you know, started a couple of years ago, playing in Duncan Ferguson's testimonial. And I remember that day.
He was still our best player.
He was, but it was pandemonium. You know, the how much people, you know, press and stuff, and so he's made it known over the last few years that he wanted to come back, and this was he said himself, the only two clubs he played for. So from that point of view, you know, I've got no issue. I suppose it comes down to two things now. I mean, I just don't worry about anything that's happened in the past. It's happened in the past, and you just get on with it. Kissing the back. I couldn't give a monkeys. I could not give a monkeys about any of that stuff. But if people do, that's fine. That's up to them. But I mean, the two things is, has he got it on the pitch, and also whether people like it or not, what does he offer us off the pitch? And they're two things. I mean, you know, on the pitch, I mean, you know, if he does sign, what do you think his role will be, or what do you think he can offer?
Well, he can offer experience. He's got ability. People, all this, he's finished and all that. This is people judging him on the odd game you've seen for United in three of the most negative Manchester United teams I've ever seen. You know, unbelievable. People say that he's finished, he doesn't play. Go and look at the games he's played over the last three. He's played 150 games in the last 3 seasons or something. So he's fit. You know, whether he's fit and sharp is another thing, but he's out there a lot of times. So for managers, if he really didn't have it, he wouldn't play anywhere near the games. He gave us that know-how. You know, the lad has won everything in the game. Everything. He's won every domestic trophy in England. He's won the European Cup. He's won the Europa League now. Okay, he hasn't won internationally, but show me someone who has in the last 50 years. You know, Englishman. So he's England's top scorer. He's Manchester United's top scorer. He's done it all. He's scored big goals. Big situations don't really faze him. You know, and Everton haven't got enough of those players. Final third players. We've got a player who I absolutely love in Ross Barkley. He's got loads of ability, but his decision making still isn't good enough. His decision making is fabulous, and I think if you put him in midfield, it won't work. He hasn't got the legs. The midfield.
Although, when he played against us in the semi-final,
he ran the show. Absolutely ran the best player in the pitch by an absolute mile in that semi-final. By no one could get near him. Absolutely. That day, but for me, he's in his best, you know, position when he's one of the front three, whether it's being the 9 down the middle. I remember they came to Goodison a few years ago and beat us 3-0, and he played up front on his own, and it was a contrast. Our centre forward couldn't slap a bag of cement, and he did everything he killed and laid off, and he scored actually as well, I think, didn't he? So he will give us that little bit of quality and class in the final third. Yes, he's not as explosive as he once was, but I still think if you create chances for him, I'd rather have him on the end of it than Kone or Valencia or players like that. People might look and go, yeah, but we're going to a different level. But we can't get from here to there. There's got to be a bridge somewhere in the middle. And don't forget, we've brought in Sandro Ramirez, who's a young lad who looks fantastic, prospect. But we don't know if he's going to take time to settle. He might come in at the ground running and be amazing, and we're all like, what a kid this is. We don't know whether we've got Romelu Lukaku or not. Yeah. You know, he may go out and Olivier Giroud may come in. But again, I think I'd rather have him clipping balls into Giroud's barnet. You know, it'd be like the battle of the two hairs, wouldn't it? Worst hair versus the best hair. You know, with Sandro buzzing. I think if Ronald Koeman, what I was excited about Ronald Koeman when we got him was he'd play a 4-4-2 at Southampton or a 4-3-3, but his front three were all strikers. Yeah. And we haven't seen that last season at Everton because we simply didn't have the players to do it. So what we saw was Ross Barkley up there and Tom Davis sometimes and Calvert-Lewin on the left. And I think if he puts, say Ron stayed for argument's sake, and we had Sandro Ramirez on one side and Wayne Rooney on the other, that's a front three, a natural front three. Then the three midfielders can do the doggy work. You get your width and your fullback. And I think that's what he'd give us, that little bit of quality at times.
Well, not only that, like you look at our most experienced players. Phil Jagielka's just celebrated 10 years at the club. Hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Leighton Baines hasn't won anything at the club. Gareth Barry, who who has won stuff, who has won a league and an FA Cup. His role will be reduced, and he doesn't seem like the most vocal person anyway, like that kind of leader. And then there's like that kind of mix then of kids and people who've come in, and I think that's that's really important to have a player who would go to these big games, not giving a monkeys.
Go to the referee.
Yeah,
that's my thing. Yeah, someone to go to the. Hang on a sec. What are you doing here?
A real leader.
Instead of having people going, I might get involved. Schneidlin does it. I know, and Coleman will do it. Baines, it depends whether the mood takes him, whether he'll do it, and generally doesn't. We haven't got many who will go up and get the referee down his ear, and this fella is, whether people like it or not, and I get there'll be people out there who hate it. I've got a few on my timeline who have been saying to me, I just don't want him, I don't like him, I can't say to him, fine, but Ronald Koeman wants him,
and Steve Walsh
wants him, and we've got to trust them because so far they're doing things right, and they're Ronald Koeman, the best footballers ever to play the game, knows what he can get out of it.
And also though, they've been talking about for a long time. Remember when Sky Sports News spent the day at Finch Farm and they were talking about him and saying that's who we'd like. So this is not a vanity thing. This is not a he'll sell shirts. This is not he'll get our name out there. I mean, he will, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is a strategy where they feel like you look at what we've just brought in. We've brought in lads who are early to mid 20s. Bridging that gap. I think that what we haven't had in certainly last season. And this is a player that maybe at the other end of his career, but brings in a real presence, someone who other people will go, oh well that's interesting. That's an interesting sign, and that's a and yes. He hasn't been at, any Man United fan will be like, oh, I'm glad he's going and he does this and he does that. But this is a real chance for him to go, well, you know what, I'm not finished, I'm not done, I'm not burnt out. And the manager and Steve Walsh will have assessed him and took all the good points and all the bad points and go, well, you know what, this is how we're going to use him. And as you said before, if he'd been first through the door and everything was thrown at him, and then you'd have the right to go, no, this is just like a theatrical kind of thing, but it's not. We've already got in, really good signings, really good prospects, and he's just an extra one, and that's how it feels to me.
You're a young lad, to be honest, mate. Davy Klaassen, people like that. He's a name.
Two of the captains from the Europa League.
He's a name. He's a name. You walk in that dressing room and sit down, and Wayne Rooney's there, and he's getting changed. The young lads, looking at it. Sandro Ramirez will know who Wayne Rooney is. These kind of players you're looking around. Jordan Pickford, seen him, been training with him in England. He's there. Michael Keane. These are players looking, going, we've got Wayne Rooney in our team, or in our squad here, as well as us other players. Who knows what this will do for Romelu Lukaku? Now, don't get me wrong, I still expect Ron to go. But it's going to make him go, all right, well, I done a bitching article in February about how this club hasn't, put your money where your mouth is, and Robinho, and that when company said bang, bang, bang.
I come back from holiday and it was bang, 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 bang.
Exactly. Well,
was it wrong?
Was it? Yeah.
Was it?
There you go. So we're doing exactly the same. So it's got to, even if it doesn't change his mind, and it probably wouldn't if Chelsea come in, but it might make him go, all right, well, yeah, they are. This is the most proactive I've seen the club since I've been at it. So it'll make other people think, Ross Barkley might go, oh, I can learn off it. There's players there. And I just think, and I've seen you tweeting, it was a really good point. It was really good. People have got to get this best 11 out their head. We don't pick the team. There's might be a best 11 in your head, and there might be a best 11 in my head, and in everybody who's watching head. and he might get in 50% of them and he might not. It's up to Ronald Koeman, and Ronald Koeman might go, yeah, I'm using him for 3 of the first 4 games, and then he's going to sit out for 2 because he's coming in, and I'm going to use Tom Davies in this game off a front man, or I'm going to use my front 3 attackers are going to play this one, Rooney, whoever it will be, Ramirez, whatever. The next game he might have 1 attacker, and it might be 5 across the middle because he wants to, you know, squeeze the game. It might be midfield play, maybe Barkley if he's still there, and Klaassen off the other, or Kevin Morales who was there, you know. So to me, I just think when you're putting a squad together, you can't have enough good players. And I think what's held Everton back for so long is that we've never had the money to be able to do this.
Yeah.
We've almost had, the way our club has been built and the way our club has survived is we've almost had about 12 or 13 good players, and then the rest on the bench are like, they're happy to sit there. They're all, you know, all right, I might get a game every now and again. Yeah. And we haven't been able to have 18 good ones because 5 of them will go, why aren't I playing? Why the fuck's he playing and I'm not? So we've kind of had to go, you know what, which is probably why we've always burnt out.
No tournaments to play.
That's it, we haven't had the trophies, and we've always fell on our swords in about March and been knackered near the end, so we haven't been able to sustain it. Now we've got a bit of money, you can keep players a bit happier if you go, well, you're getting a good wedge there, sit there. And that feeds into, well, they're more likely to go further then in competitions because you've got better players. How do you think the big clubs do? The bigger teams and the successful teams have done it because they get better players in, they win stuff, so they're involved in a lot of things, so they can rotate. When teams start falling down that pecking order and you start slipping, your squad gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and players are more educated now in terms of their own bodies and stuff as well. I've been on the red zone, and all that, and they know. The doctor will come up to them and go, listen, you need a week off this week because if you don't, you're going to get an injury and you're going to be on for 6 weeks. And that's all dead important now. You know, players can't play every single week. They just can't because, as you just said, you play against different teams with different strategies.
You can play every week, but sooner or later, the form will dip.
But also, that's not...
And we've seen a bit Rom this year. We've seen Rom amazing till March. We've seen him.
But it's not only that, though. It's you'll go up against the team and they'll go, watch these every week, they play the same way, I know how to stop them, and they'll stop you. Whereas if you've got different players, different ways, different styles of playing, and suddenly you're not as, you know, straightforward as everyone thinks you are.
Why did we struggle? We struggled away from home so many times this season because teams just went, stop Lukaku. So we stopped Rom, and we had nothing else either side really to affect it. We had decent players, which is why we didn't particularly lose that many games on the road. We just didn't win any. Whereas if you'd have had Wayne Rooney getting on chances edge of the box, you know, with him, with someone else, then you throw Adamola Lookman into that, you've got that little extra factor, you've got, you know, Kevin Morales in there, you've got that. So you're getting a really good mix. Yeah, people will be right and say, well, he hasn't really done it for 12 months. He hasn't looked the same player. He hasn't, but if you know that you're at a club where your manager doesn't really fancy you as a player, you know, and you've been this icon, which he has been for Manchester United, and you do start to slow down a little bit, people are very quick to go, he's finished now, he's not as good, he's finished now, we want something shiny and new. And you're doing the same thing every day, you're going into the same job every single day, you get jaded in a job, and I think it's what he needs is to come into somewhere fresh, where he's got to impress a new manager, new teammates, it's the club.
And
us as fans, his kids. I remember someone saying, and I think it was his uncle actually, in about March or April, saying he wants his kids to see him playing in an Everton kit because they got their Everton kits, and he wants them to see that. You know, and Kai's at the age where he's mad for Everton and all that, he wants it, and you know, his other kids growing up. So he's got all of that, and this is the thing for him, and it's a chance for him to maybe come back and potentially win a trophy, whatever that may be, with his club. And people, like you said right at the top of it, I fully get that there'll be people who don't want it to happen and don't like him and probably will just be like, fuck off, he's a waste of space and all that. Fine, everyone's entitled to the opinion. I just think, my opinion is just that if we've got 20 really good players, we've got more opportunity of being successful in the league and winning a trophy, and that's why we go to match.
The flip side of it is, or the other side of it, sorry, is obviously the commercial benefits to a Wayne Rooney sign. And we've spoken for a while about this wow signing or this sort of you know, stand up and and watch sort of signings, you know, and we've been so far we've been spoiled this summer, you know. We've been everywhere, you know, newspapers, Sky, everywhere, all talking about us, the business, everyone's shocked. It creates this, it creates both sides of it, doesn't it? Everyone's like, oh my god, look what they're doing. Then you get the fume from the other fans, and they're, you know, we're a talking point.
Yeah.
And what's good about that is when you're a talking point, like these other clubs who keep themselves in the media all the time, is you're more attractive to sponsors because they're seeing the logo on all the time in newspapers and every day of the week, and it, you know, if they buy a big player, you know, Sky want that game on live, they want to see what happens, and that's what it would be like with this lad for a start. If he signs, everyone's going to want to follow the story, the narrative. Football's not just about 11 men kicking the ball anymore. You're mad if you think it is. It's about the narrative, it's about the story, it's about the players, it's about the manager, it's about the drama over a season, and it's like it's like a series. It's not. It creates its own drama. It's not. It isn't just 11 men. And when you've got a star, people want to see how that star gets on. You know, whether he falls flat on his face or whether he gets rejuvenated. People want to follow that story, and that gets you on TV more. And that's, you know, that's why Sky don't really, you know, Sky don't go on the day the TV, the fixtures come out and go, that one. They wait a bit, they follow the story, they see what's happening. They go, well, there's a game there, oh, it's dead easy, we'll just have Arsenal versus whoever, first game of the season. They wait a little bit and go, well, let's just see who signs a couple of players. Yeah. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, you know, if he comes in, if we're on telly, first game of the season, second game of the season, third game of the season, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, because it's the attraction of Wayne Rooney. What's going to happen? How are Everton fans going to take to him? And that's what actually grabs me more than anything about this. Football, right? It goes on every year. Season. You know, you start forgetting some games. You start, when you have seasons like we did, not last season, the season before, they all sort of roll into one. There's no defining factors in them. There's no standout moments unless you're in Europe. You don't go, oh, I remember, because it just becomes a blur. But when you've got stories like this, I don't know, maybe it's me just getting older. I want to see what happens. I'm not prepared to just, you know, I know it sounds stupid, but, you know, you don't go to cinema and go, well, I've read the book to this, I'm not going to watch it. You go, let's see how they adapt that book. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, or a play, or whatever it is in life. You go, let's see what happens. Let's see how this. And I'm quite happy the way the way we've signed people and the way Everton are going. I want to see how this develops. If it doesn't work, it hasn't worked. Do you know what I mean? But I'd rather them see.
Every play is a gamble. Every signing is a gamble. We could go and get, you know, Lukaku has bashed the goals in for us, done fantastically well. He could go to Chelsea and it just not work again for whatever reason. He's not as successful as people would think. He might go there and get 50 goals a season, who knows? But it could go the other way. You know, different players react differently, and he might come back in and be rejuvenated, and he might get 12 goals and have 9 assists and be brilliant. I seen a stat today that he got more goals and more assists than Ross Barkley last season. You know, so, you know, and then people might go, well, yeah, well, Ross wasn't.
Well, I think he started 15 games, scored 5 goals and 9 assists, something like that.
He's a very good footballer, you know, still. He mightn't be as
quick. That's a 1 in 3.
That's, you know, I just think, but as well as that, sorry, let's go back to the thing. The other side to that is, he's a name world renowned. I've said before, you know, 14 million followers to 1 million followers with the club. His name is everywhere. People know him. He's an icon throughout the world because of FIFA, because of the Nike deal and everything else. People are, you know, someone was tweeting us from America going, I'm on Aldi. Sorry, it wasn't America. So I'm on Aldi. There's about 4 different Rooney kits here. People run around an England shirt or there's a United shirt or whatever. People know him. People know who he is. So it gets Everton's name. Now, some people will look and go, that's not important. It's about the pitch and all that. And yet the pitch is ultimately the most important thing. And I think he will add to the pitch. But it's everything else. He's getting Everton. Look at what's happened already just by him. This story breaking, that it's back on. Every day, news, Sky, papers, every single day. You know, we're talking about it, it's getting bounced everywhere. You know, opposition fans are ringing radio stations up and pretending they're not bothered about it, but they've made the call, so they are. It's getting our name everywhere, and that's what I think the likes of Farhad and Shiri will see the value in this. Yes, Ronald Koeman might say, we can get an international player here who scored a lot of goals, got the experience, knows the club, and who will help bed in a few of our other players. He's a winner, it'll rub off on others. And as well as that, Mashiri will be looking going, this is a household name.
I think it's massive from that point of view. I think, you know, if he gets, you know, he signs and I think the shirts will fly out. You'll see people wearing the shirts elsewhere. People go, well, and you know, people go, oh, Wayne Rooney signed for Everton. Then suddenly it gets you in there. And I think as well, it reminds me, you know, if they do it, it reminds me of like the Zlatan deal last summer. You know, he came in and everyone was like, well, how's he going to get on it? You know, everyone had slagged him off about playing in England, couldn't do it. He was fantastic, but I think what was more important for actually last season is Zlatan took the pressure off the likes of Pogba. Now, you know, Pogba, if Zlatan hadn't signed, I think people would have called Pogba for everything last season. For a £90 million player, I don't think he had a very good season. No. So Man United fans will tell me different and say, oh, you don't see it. But for a £90 million player, I expect the very best. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Zlatan he took that pressure on, and I think that's what he could do. I think he'd take the pressure off all our signings so far, and the likes of Tom Davies and whoever else. Everyone will be focused on him, and they can go and quietly do their business, and Everton as a team can quietly go and to try and do their business, and he's got big enough shoulders that he can do. Like, you know, if Jagielka's not at the club or not playing, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the captain's armband was given instantly to Wayne Rooney. It just wouldn't surprise me, because he's been there and done everything, and Koeman as a leader knows the importance of that, and knows that if he comes in and in our squad, he suddenly he becomes the most experienced player, because he's experienced everything. He's won Champions League, he's lost Champions League, you know, he's won Europa Leagues, you know, he was in the tournament that we're in this season, he's won FA Cups, he's won it all. Won absolutely everything. So that instantly makes him our most experienced player, no matter what. So he knows about being in Everton, knows about what the club's all about as well. So and I just think those factors are huge. And as I say, if you don't want him back because he kissed the badge, then that's up to you. I can't really.
Listen,
I can't say anything. If you don't want him because he, you know,
each to their own. And if people don't like that or don't, you know, whatever he done, that's fine. And everyone will have a different opinion, won't they? On that's what football is. It's all about opinions. I just think, me personally, I think it's a good opportunity because, like I said right at the start of the video, it's not all on him. If it was Wayne Rooney, Cuca Martina, and a free transfer from Sweden, I'd be going, oh my God, that's our money and we've put it on him. Now, it might work and it might be great, but if it falls flat, we've made ourselves look stupid. Like I said, he comes in, but we've already signed and there'll be more after him. So he's just part of a jigsaw, and if Ronald Koeman pieces that together properly and we get the best out of him, we've got ourselves a hell of a footballer. Yeah, he's not what he was 5 years ago, of course he's not, but no one is. But I remember Gareth Barry came in and people were like, what the fuck, he's crap. Gareth Barry has been brilliant for us. Okay, he's getting slower now, but he was fantastic. I remember, and this I'm showing my age, but I remember when we signed Andy Gray, I was a kid, but I remember people just fuming. I remember when people would write letters in the Echo, but they were actually Evertonians, not Reds. You know, why have we signed him? He's always injured, he's there, he's finished, and he's this, and he's that, and he's the other. And he came in to a promising team. We weren't great by any stretch of imagination. And he came in with his experience, and he just knitted everything together, his enthusiasm, his determination. And for 18 months, he was absolutely unreal. I was devastated when Andy Gray left, absolutely devastated. Howard Kendall just went, buying Gary Lineker, you're going now. And that was it, he was gone.
But it's not, you know, it's not a new thing. Okay, the figures involved are big. But, you know, when we bought in Peter Reid,
well, that's the same.
His legs have gone. When we brought in Paul Power, what's he doing? One. You know, we've brought in, Liverpool brought in Gary McAllister.
He was amazing.
Absolutely finished finished the season with 3 trophies. But that little bit of know-how.
It's not. I don't put him. People will throw Gascoigne at us, and he'll throw Ginola at us. But I think it's totally different to both of them. They were. I mean, Gaza was all right for us. He was all right. He's got a couple of injuries that didn't help him. He was okay. Ginola was fit. He was finished. It was pity because it was Smith just threw the dice and that didn't work. But he was 35. Yeah. Wayne Rooney's 31. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I think for 2, maybe 3 seasons.
I remember when Man United brought in Hendrik Larsson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he got a title at the end of it. You know, you sometimes, even when United brought in Cantona, he was like, was he 28, 29, something like that. Like, you know, and people were like, wow, it ends up being the thing that takes them from being also rans to just giving them that.
And don't let any Liverpool fan give you stick, because they took Fowler back when he was finished, and it just really didn't work. You know what I mean? But that's the way it is, isn't it? You've got, sometimes it's a gamble, and sometimes it's the ones where you go, not sure. They're the ones that work out. We could, you know, Lacazette has gone today, and I've wanted him for ages, and I know he is a big gamble. He's gone for 50 odd million. He might score 5 goals here because he just might be able to take to it. That one would have got me going. I'm so excited to see him playing for us, but that's a gamble, huge money. Whereas Wayne Rooney, it's a bit like, yeah, he's a good player. I'm excited to get him back because he'll piece in with other people now, but he might be a key signing and something else might work. We don't know, but you know, as the story develops, like you said right, you know, before, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it does develop and how it plays out.
But this is it, isn't it? And this is that. I think this is it, because he's leaving Man United. It seems very clear he's leaving Man United, and
let's be honest, he's coming here.
let's build the tension.
It looks like he's coming. I mean, it'll be exciting when he goes to Finch Farm and the cameras are there and they see him for the first time going in and things like that.
If anyone who doesn't want him, and that's fine, as I said, that's fine. I'm not having a go with anyone. But if you watch the look at it now. You watch how it breaks, and you watch how a player who's been considered a world-class player, you know, if he comes and signs, you watch the story blow up, and not just the story, the narrative. The boy who left his home, his beloved Everton, 13 years old, the boy who said, once a blue, always a blue. You watch that, I'm telling you, and people might just go and watch footy and just see 11 men kicking a ball around. It doesn't work like that anymore. Because the industry is too big. The industry now demands a story every single day. They want a story. And they want story. They want the narrative to continue. It is like it's like a TV series. It really is. It is like an ongoing.
It's gonna be that. It's gonna be his first appearance. It's gonna be his first goal, his first booking. The derby.
Man United playing against Man United.
It's the whole club against this, against that. It's every time, and it'll be building, and them games will be on now.
Exactly.
I know Everton Man United a big game anyway, but it'll be on that live because it's Rooney versus United. United's record all-time goal scorer back against them at his boyhood club. It just creates a story, doesn't it? You know, can we win a derby at Anfield with Wayne Rooney? It just creates that story for you there, and then Everton in Europa League. This fella won it. You know, he's taking his new club into it, and that's how it goes, and that's how Everton will be bounced everywhere. And it remains to be seen what he actually does on the pitch. And you know, but I'm quite happy to back the manager and Steve Walsh and Erwin Koeman. And listen, he ain't done anything with Jan Klutenberg yet.
Oh, yeah.
Wait till Jan gets his hands on him.
Spinning class.
Spinning
will seem like a day at the prom on your little stroller bike when Jan gets hold of him. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He'll be a lean meat. It wouldn't
like
surprise me if he walks into a room, like, you know, like the way he looks, come out 6-packed up with a full perm. That's the power of Jan.
I think he'd be good with a perm.
That's the power of Jan. It's not what he looks like, it's just growing. That is the
problem.
But the funny thing is, he'll probably come back and he'll look exactly the same as he did when he got that injury. Remember when he got the injury and he had skinhead, he was a little bit overweight. Remember, he was, with the yellow kit.
If he gets you do, we have him, like you said. Boss versus Bad. Amazing. Who knows? And Ron, I mean, this just the final one. Ron did say one player he wished he really loved to partner. Was this fella
Was he,
here? Yeah. He's actually gone on, that's official what he said, so
dig that one out.
who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
There you have it.
He might just say, let's not play for you in Tanzania if Rooney signs before I go to Chelsea, so I can say.
There you go. So I've been to Tanzania and
I played with Wayne Rooney. Boxers.
Where's the private jet to Stamford?
Get me to Conti, you know.
Let us know what you think. I know we are pretty biased towards wanting him here, but I think we've put over our arguments of why we want him. And if you pick one, and if you don't agree with us, that's fine.
Loads won't, but the polls that I've seen, a lot of Twitter polls, it's like 80% want him. Are like happy to take him back. So
I just remember Duncan Ferguson's testimonial, and I just remember
the crowd.
How everyone was just like, get him on the pitch.
That day, mate, when he picked, I remember him picking the ball up on the halfway line, and everyone stood up, and his movement, he was on for 20 minutes, and I couldn't believe the movements of him, not speed of him, this movement, and I was like, oh my God, that's a proper centre forward. This movement was unbelievable.
I'll tell you another thing very, very quickly as well, right? For kids watching him, remember that kid last year in the tunnel?
Yeah, he was just in awe.
We were just like,
couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Daddy.
He did look like a young Wayne Rooney.
No, but that's it. That's what that's the start. He brings star power. Brings star quality, star power. Call it what you want. That's what he brings.
He does.
And even if that's just a sprinkling for a couple of years, that can be the push for the next one and for the next one, and that could be it. That could be it. But let us know in the comments whether you agree, whether you disagree. If you don't agree, that's fine. You're disagreeing with the manager and the director of football and the chairman and the
owner,
biggest shareholder. So I mean, that's sound. But that's sound because you're entitled to do that for the time being till we become yeah, there you go. Not us.
Say.
Not us. Just everywhere.
No commercial overloads here.
Well, there's no commercial.
There isn't.
There isn't unless you're on Patreon, and then you are our commercial overload.
And they are, yeah. There you go.
Thanks for watching, and yeah, if you're not on Patreon, get on Patreon. It's great over there. We make loads and loads of videos, but you don't get to see them if you're only watching on YouTube. But if you're only watching on YouTube, that's fine as well. We like you as well, because if we didn't, we'd just take all our videos off YouTube and put them on Patreon. But you're sound as well.
So everyone's sound.
Everyone's sound. Apart from all the Reds who leave horrible comments, which are just bad buttes, because they leave a comment and I just bin them. So yeah, thanks for watching Toffee TV. We'll see you later.